you of course were on Shark Tank, and you actually got a deal on Shark Tank. You got I remember specifically your episode. I totally remember your episode. I'm almost positive we have got your pancakes in our pantry. We have eaten the protein pancakes at one point, because my wife Jocelyn is a Shark Tank nut, but I think she views it more like the Home Shopping Network, because as soon as the episode's over, she's buying the Aqua Vault or the protein pancakes or whatever.
So at the time, as a personal trainer, I think I was making maybe 40 grand a year. It wasn't anything crazy. And I like wrote out on a piece of paper, I was like, in 1 year, I want to be making $100,000 online. I want it to be in fitness, and I want to help people. And I want to be able to work from anywhere. Like, that's all I had. And I knew what I didn't want from this affiliate marketing stuff. And I had nothing. And I just kept looking at it. And I'm like, there's got to be something. Like, and I always believe this because I used to coach entrepreneurs. And I was like, normally your answer is something you're probably already doing every single day, but it's
100%.
So simple.
Yes.
It's so simple for you that you're like, this can't be it. There's no way.
No way that's the thing. Come on. Like, that's the thing you want? I thought it was this thing you wanted, but this the simple one? No chance.
We complicate it. And that's exactly what happened for years. And you can ask my family about this. Like, I've been eating protein pancakes for like 10 years in my life because I love pancakes. I love breakfast food. However, when I got into the fitness industry and learned all about nutrition,
I realized pancakes are bad. Like, if you could create the worst thing ever, it's bread that you pour liquid sugar on. That's probably the worst thing you could ever put in your body, honestly, right?
Right, exactly. Sugar, processed stuff, like butter. It's
I try not to think about that at Cracker Barrel sometimes, but we get our.
Oh my God. Anyway, right? That's what I always got though, was the what was it? Big Mama's breakfast or something?
Big Mama's breakfast. Just pile the bacon and syrup on. Could you bring me another syrup? Those little bottles are not cutting it, Cracker Barrel. Right. Exactly.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's really what happened is I was like, dang, pancakes aren't healthy. Well, that's a problem. So how do we do this? And I had a huge passion for baking. I've always loved, one of my love languages is I like making food that makes other people happy. Like, it just makes me happy seeing they're like, oh my God, that was amazing. And so I always made cakes and brownies and cookies and all kinds of things that I was like, all right, there's got to be a way that I can make this healthier. And I just tried out so many different recipes for myself. And I used to give it to my family. I'm like, this kind of tastes like a pancake, right? And some of them were terrible. I was solving my own problem of not having to cut out food that I love by doing this. Yeah. So while I'm trying to figure out this idea and what to do, one of my clients one morning was like, I got a question. I can't eat egg whites anymore for breakfast. Like, they're terrible. They're bland. What do you eat? And I was like, oh, I eat pancakes every day. And they were like, why do you have me eating egg whites every day?
You've been holding out on me, Ashley. This is ridiculous. Well, that's the secret. Oh man, egg whites. You got pancakes over there, right?
Well, so I just put it in like a little Ziploc bag. Like, I made all the little flowers and stevia and all that. I was like, here, I add a whole egg and some water and mix it up, and it'll make you 4 pancakes. That's what I eat every morning. And it holds me over for like 4 hours. The next day I went for the training session. It was a guy actually, and he was like, can you make me like a week's worth of that? Because I can do that. Yeah. And it was like in that moment where I'm like sitting there making my breakfast, I was like, oh my gosh, what if I turn this into a product?
How did you get onto Shark Tank? Like, I don't even understand how that works. And like, I know that there was a process of getting this productized and getting it better and then getting it noticed, but like, how does that, how do you go from filling tub with stuff and writing people's names with a Sharpie on it to making this into a product, getting it into a store or selling it online? And then how do you get on to Shark Tank? Was this a thing you tried, or did you get noticed, or like what happened?
So I Googled it.
Did you Google how to get on Shark Tank? Is that what you really did?
That's literally exactly what I did.
That's so simple. Why didn't I do that? I should have done that before I got on the podcast today.
I know. Everybody thinks like, oh my God, did you know somebody, or did they call you, or somebody saw your product? I'm like, no, one day I just Googled how to get on Shark Tank, and
that's amazing.
Popped up, and it was like, oh, so because when I ask people, they're like, oh man, like I've always wondered. I'm like, well, what have you tried? Oh, nothing.
Nothing. Okay. Right. Exactly. Right. I didn't look. That's why I didn't care.
Yeah. No, so the timeline was I started writing these on tubs with a Sharpie from like April, May, actually, no, April, May, June, July. I was doing all this out of my kitchen 2014, then July, August, September. You might not know who this is. Do you know who Dana Lynn Bailey is?
I have no idea. Who is it?
So Dana Lynn Bailey is like a huge, well-known bodybuilder. Like she's got millions of followers, and just a very synchronistic event. She found my product somehow on Instagram or social media. And ironically, I'm the one that's filling these products, but because I was just like hustling, I was not paying attention. And she bought it and made a social media post about it that I was not at all aware of. And I walked into the gym one morning, and the girl at the front desk, because she knew what I was doing, she was like, "Have you been on social media today?" I was like, "What? No, why?" And I opened my phone, and I mean, just the orders came flooding through. And I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot make this in my kit. It was thousands of orders. Like there's no way.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
So that started, and this is what I do believe happens in entrepreneurship when you're ready.
Again, you're doing things publicly without a break. You're just putting it out there so that you can be in the right place at the right time. You got to put yourself in the right place, people, to be in the right place at the right time, because you don't get found if you're just not telling anyone about your pancakes, right?
Exactly. Yeah. No, I was telling anybody and everybody that I knew about this. And like my excitement became other people's excitement. The important thing too, though, is I think people do one thing and then they sit there and they wait. And it's like, no, just keep going. Don't pay attention. Like, don't get caught up. I think Google Analytics, statistics, everything in the beginning is so irrelevant because you're not getting traffic anyways. Like,
that's exactly right. I have multiple successful online businesses. I still don't look at open rates. I just send the email. I don't care. Like how many sales came in. That's the number I'm looking at. Right. And like get more emails, send more emails. That's all I'm doing. So
same thing. Yeah. I actually think you slow down your momentum when you start getting too caught up in that, because you're focused on the things that aren't making the impact. Focus on what makes the impact. And then you don't have to worry about that. That's just all like side things. So she launched me into the next step that I had to figure out is, how do you find a manufacturer and fulfillment? Because I cannot do this on my own. And I went back to, ironically, the people that I knew through the ClickBank stuff, just because they were all in the fitness space. And I was like, hey, does anybody know any kind of manufacturer for this? Like, this is totally new territory and I'm lost. And somebody did connect me to somebody they knew in California that they were like, hey, I don't really know anything, but I know this guy also makes some protein products, so maybe he can help you. And it actually worked out very perfectly. And he lined me up with his manufacturer. We had to do a ton of stuff with formulation, which I didn't even know you had to do. But I mean, it makes sense. If somebody is recreating your recipe, there's so many things you got to test. Yeah. Find out what's actually legal and not legal.
How not to poison people. That's good. That's always good. Right?
Yeah. We got to make sure there's no microbes or anything. That's probably a good idea.
Probably a good idea. Probably a good plan.
Yeah. So that happened, I think it was August, September. And I mean, that it was just a lot, and everything was getting like put together, the website. And then I had moved to California to figure it out, to be closer to the manufacturer. And while I was out there, I'm telling everybody like, oh, what do you do? I have a protein pancake product. You should try it. And in one day, I think 3 or 4 people were like, you should go on Shark Tank. And I was like, yeah, that's a cute idea. And so on a total whim with zero expectation, I Googled how to get on Shark Tank. Application came up. I filled it out literally. Like, I think I only knew 50% of what they were asking me, because I was like, I don't know my projections for next year. I don't even know what I'm making right now. I don't know customer acquisitions, average order value, all these things that when you're in it, you're like, Google, what is customer acquisition? Like, I don't know.
All I know is that stuff went to someone else and that much money's here. And that's pretty much it right now. I have no clue what's happening tomorrow. And that's it. That's all I got.
I sold 10 bags. How does that work? Oh,
right. You might get picked. You just never know, you know?
Yeah. I always tell people to follow their optimistic curiosity. Like,
that's a great quote. That's a great quote.
Curious. Like, who knows? Like, just go for it. Like, what if it does work out though? Like, that would totally change your life. But it's just curiosity you're following. It's not an attachment. It's not like all your eggs are in that one basket. You're like, I don't know. I just want to see what happens. Even though I applied for that, I did not then stop what I was doing and sit around and wait until they called me back.
Fingers crossed. I hope Shark Tank calls me. Nah, you don't care
Right.
at that point, right?
Yeah, no, I was like, all right, done, moving on. What do I got to do next? Like, keep moving forward. I got to figure this out. And I'm glad I did, because I didn't hear anything back from them for 6 months. And I didn't care, because I actually wasn't thinking about it at all. I was like, not surprised, because I don't know what half the terms they're asking me are. Who cares? Ironically, though, it was February of 2015, and I was at a fitness business conference in Costa Mesa, California. And I had like a table. I was working on recruiting affiliates for my pancakes. And I had a missed call from Los Angeles while I was there.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, LA, who's calling me from LA? Because I had so forgotten about it, and it had been so long. And she was like, hi, my name is so-and-so. I'm a producer with Shark Tank. I'm so sorry for the delay. And I was like ready to shut it down. I was like, pack it up. This is where all of our energy's going. Who cares?
yes.
Who cares?
We have found the nail. Bring me a hammer right now. Shark Tank.
Yeah. And I mean, she walked me through the process. It was a very tedious, stressful process. And
after they accepted your application, you got to go through more rigorous, like, I guess, like do they audition you to make sure you're going to be like good for television? Do they do anything like that, or what do they do? Yeah.
So when you finally get to film, they make it very clear that you're not allowed to talk to other entrepreneurs there, which sucks, because like, talk about networking. You want to talk to these people, but you sign confidentiality that you won't, because everybody has a different process of how they got there. So they're like, we don't want people to find out that I submitted an application and a couple YouTube videos when the person next to you had to go to 3 live casting calls and like basically go through the gauntlet. Yeah. I didn't even know there were casting calls. So my process was, I filled out the application, submitted it. She called me back. And then I had to submit, I think, 2 or 3 rounds of different videos, and they weren't necessarily auditions. They're terrible. They're somewhere online on YouTube, because we had to upload it to a YouTube link. I'm in my kitchen. I'm wearing like a tank top and gym clothes, and I'm cooking pancakes up. I'm like cooking it up, and I actually mess up like the first time, and they don't want retakes. And I'm like, oh, okay, sorry about that. Hold on 1 second. Like,
starting over. Here we go.
Sometimes nothing go right. It's okay. It's like a 20-minute just talking like this, where I'm like, so I started this out of my kitchen. Here's my intention. I don't know how many people ordered. I don't know how much it cost to make. My price came from like a total guess, like a tub of protein's $40. This is a tub of protein, so it sounds right. Like everything was so just, I'm clueless. I'm not afraid to tell you that I'm clueless. If you pick me, great. If you don't, I'm just going to keep doing this anyways. And again, I submitted it and I was like, no way. I think I messed up like 5 times. And they're like, hey, we love this. Like, you were so genuine. We want to do this again. And I'm like,
that's a great, because you were thinking they may not let me watch Shark Tank anymore after that video, let alone be on the show, right?
I might cause my business to fail by sticking in this video.
I got to get this offline before somebody copies it. This is ridiculous. Right.
No, seriously. And they loved it. And then the next thing was, they were like, all right, so now we need like actual paperwork for your business, which that intimidated me more than anything, because they would send it, say it's Monday. They would send you probably about the equivalent, like when you buy a home, just stacks of paper. Like, okay, so if you can get this back to us within 24 hours, if you don't, it might disqualify you moving to the next round. And you're like, 24 hours. Okay, I got this. I don't know what any of this is. And I remember I'll
make a bunch of pancakes and not sleep. And I'll just eat pancakes and fill out paperwork all day.
Oh my God, no joke though. That's what it was. Like every day, I just remember coming home and I was like, it's never going to stop. Like it just keeps happening, but you're so scared. You're like, but also I kind of love it because my opportunity just keeps opening up and I want to keep following this.
For sure.
So yeah, so I did all of that. The background they do on you is insane. I remember somebody from their legal department called me and they were like, hey, we just want to verify that in 1995, this was your street address. I was like, 95? I don't even know. I think so. Okay, well, was your car like, I don't know how they find out all this stuff. Do you know my high school boyfriend? Do you know who my best friend was? Like, they do such an extensive background check, financial check.
Well, they got to make sure that nobody slips through because you know how the world is today. Yeah. Like the wrong person goes on Shark Tank and now they're associated with Shark Tank forever. And now they're a criminal or they're whatever. And now it's like, oh my gosh, we can't even have a show anymore because the world turns against us, basically.
Right. Now they're branded with Shark Tank. Correct.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, I mean, it was just weeks of doing that. And then as you continue to progress, the first in-person thing was we had to sit through a legal briefing at Sony Studios. So that in itself was like surreal because you pull into like the Sony lot, you've got all the different sets up there, and then you sit in front of the entire board and all the producers for like 3 hours, and they're just walking you through the process. Everybody signs paperwork that you will not talk to anybody about what's going on. If you make it all the way to filming, even this actually happened, even if you film, you get a deal, you cannot tell anybody about that until you get released from the network. So you walk off set and like, I got a deal. And I'm like, I can't tell anybody.
Oh yeah. You can't tell your parents or your friends or like, you just gotta be like, just keep on making pancakes, guys. Right? Like, you know, I mean, it's like, do they let you tell your team?
Nope.
That's crazy. So you can't even go and like tell like the people who are about to ramp up and their life is about to go crazy because they're going to make so many more sales that to get ready because it's coming. You just got to be like
sitting around.
Business as usual, waiting for the show to come out. Man, that's nuts.